Well lads, I asked and you answered. The results are loud and clear.
Democracy!
I guess it's time to look at these here covenants, right? Let's do it. Welcome to the first episode in a 4-part series where I, Vulgrin, will be examining all of your favourite covenants from a position of absolutely no credibility. Will I be talking about the abilities much? Will I delve into a deep analysis of which choice would have resulted in a net DPS gain for your chosen spec? No, of course not, because that's not fun, and I like to have fun on my channel. So instead, you can expect lots of bad jokes about Lucius Malfoy's band of basement dwellers, private viewings of Bulbasaur Waifu's Grove, and an on-the-ground exclusive investigation into the growing problem of Necrolord diabetes. But before all that, I know exactly where we should start. Let's talk about the Smurfs. Having played through Bastion and experienced the realities of Kirian ideology, I'm left wondering what kind of nutcase you'd have to have been in life to end up as one. Now I get that these guys are supposed to be disciplined and embody the virtues of honour and justice, but these blueberries have a spear of Bastion lodged halfway up their collective arse. You want to retain independent thoughts, memories of your past life? Picture the family that you died to protect? Who the fuck are you, a scrub? Gotta follow the path, mate. Imagine dying a heroic death in service to your people, sacrificing your life without hesitation to protect them, and your reward is that you get sent to an afterlife which looks like it was designed by a guy who creams his pants every time he watches the opening scene of Gladiator. I can only describe the realm of Bastion as a place tailor-made for the sort of people who would remind the teacher at the end of class if they forgot to ask the students to hand in their homework. Fuck those guys, by the way, straight in the mall with them. That being said, I'd say this is honestly one of the better examples of nuanced storytelling by Blizzard, a company not exactly known these days for its narrative brilliance, see the "she's totally not Garrosh 2.0, oh wait no of course she is" debacle for reference there. They did a good job here of crafting a conflicted realm of heroes whose desire to serve a noble cause has maybe turned them, I don't know, a little bit fucking crazy? But let me take a step back. Who are the Kirian? Well, they're basically angels, but it's WoW, so you know that the angel dudes have giant soul robots and metal lions that fight for them, because of course they do. This is after all a game in which we only just finished helping a dwarf, made from Walter White's secret recipe, stop a giant psychic squid from destroying the world, which by the way can feel pain and is pretty upset and depressed right now. And that wasn't even the heavily criticised part of the expansion story, by the way, but I digress. Back to the Ultramarines, the Kirian. These guys are the people whose duty it is to ferry the souls of the dead to the afterlife, a seriously important job as you can imagine, and one that should absolutely be carried out with discretion and professional oversight. It's probably why they're all so fucking dogmatic and self-righteous, not that it stops them from occasionally yeeting someone they don't like into the maw without a proper screening process because they were a cunt in the past life, right Uther? Now, there are several powerful leaders of the Kirian who embody different virtues like courage and loyalty, and they all ultimately answer to the Supreme Triangle Head, or the Archon if you want to be a nerd about it I guess. And the Archon is the first of the Kirian, and if you thought she might be a bit more forgiving than her crew, you'd be wrong, because you see, as the leader of the Kirian, she's arguably the one responsible for the most controversial aspect of Kirian culture. Now, look at these owl guys that run around looking silly and doing work. You know, the ones that everyone loves because they're swole and funny looking and it's all a good laugh. Yeah, well, they're basically slaves. These guys exist purely to do the menial work and manual labour in Bastion. They are, for all intents and purposes, an enslaved species. Blizzard decided to go all in on the bonkers totalitarian aesthetic here, by the way, by making it that your general ability for this covenant is that you get to summon your own personal owlboy slave to bring you refreshments, even in times of extreme risk to his life. And don't try and tell me he's just an eager ally of the Kirian. Wrong. I'll tell you what he is. He's the fucking help. Indentured servant is what he is, and it's fucking weird. You even get a baby one as a pet. More like a fucking hostage to make sure they do as they're told. Blizzard, bunch of mad lads I tell you. I'm surprised you don't get a Covenant mount for the Kirian, which is just a giant golden throne for you to sit on, carried around by a dozen of these poor owl guys who are slowly dying of starvation and being worked to death, carrying your lazy ass around like your name's fucking Xerxes or something. However, there is something else about the Kirian which is appealing. Now, this isn't a Covenant made up of edgy fans of the Cure with a vitamin D deficiency. Nor is it one where you have to put up with the smell of rancid cottage cheese whenever you're in town. Instead, the Kirian offer you something else. They offer you the path, the road to enlightenment. And what does that path lead to, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Giant blue angel girls. I'm telling you, it's a moneymaker. Now, some of you might be wondering, Fulgrim, are you saying that WoW's community is riddled with such degeneracy that there are people out there who will join this Covenant because they lust after big titty Smurf waifus? Yes. But what about the transmog options, you ask? We all know that's what Blizzard used to tempt us into joining these Covenants when they were first announced. What do the Kirian bring to the table when it comes to the cosmetics? Well, if you don't mind looking like a fusion of ancient Greco-Roman mythology and Tron Legacy, you'll probably be into it, especially if you're a paladin. The gear is obviously tailored in that thematic direction. I think the cloth set is pretty dull, honestly. It just looks like a mediocre priest set, which, sorry priest bros, is pretty much all priest sets, not the sacred tier 6 though. The leather set is cool, apart from the disturbingly large bent horn thing on your forehead, and your boots could probably use a pedicure, to be honest. The mail set is nice, not sure about the long johns though. As for the plate set, I think it looks great, especially if you're wanting to go for some sort of cyborg paladin look, or fancy a career as a lighthouse. I will say though that it's a good thing that this is blue anime fire coming out of the helmet and shoulders rather than real flames, because if it was real flames, you'd probably end up getting mistaken for the fucking Olympic torch. Either that or the beacons of Gondor, you can choose. Is the Kyrian Covenant worth joining? Yeah, if you're a paladin, it's an ideal fit, and Bastion is a cool zone, even if its hard-on for Khorne is matched only by Tony the fucking Tiger. I personally find the Kirian to be pretty boring, but hey, I'll be the first person to admit that I'm an edgy boy. I like skeletons and dark castles and gothic themes, and that's just not what the Kirian are about. They're about justice and honour and big, curvaceous angel... Actually, I think I'm having second thoughts. I think I will join the Kirian after all. There you go, lads, part 1 of the Covenant series. Honestly, the Kirian are actually quite hard to joke about. I think maybe it's because they're the least interesting of the 4 Covenants, at least in my opinion. Just you wait until we talk about the slime boys and the vampires and them. Oh, it's gonna get juicy, my friends. Now, if you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to check out the channel Patreon page. That support really helps, and I'll leave a link down below for that. New videos are out weekly, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you very much for watching this one. Bye bye.